everyone and welcome to my first discussion video in quite a while. So this is a bit of a brain fart. I'm not really planned this out an awful lot. I only have a certain idea to an extent of what I'm going to say, so this should be interesting. And basically today I want to talk to you about my own personal struggles with DNFing and how you guys feel about DNFing and just DNFing. So if you watched my wrap-up video yesterday, you will know that I recently DNF'd a book, and this is something that I struggle to do. I've probably DNF'd at best 5 books in my entire lifetime, and considering I've read over 500 and they're just the ones that I've remembered to track on Goodreads, that says an awful lot about me and DNFing. Why do I find it so hard to DNF books? I think we need to look at this from a further perspective than this. So first of all, how did I DNF that book that was mentioned in the wrap-up yesterday? And that is simply, I finally thought in the back of my head when I was trying to force myself to read boring word after boring word, I still need to read thousands of books. I own thousands of Kindle books. My physical shelves are overflowing. Why am I torturing myself with something I hate when there's so many more things I need to read, and life's too short and I might get run over by a bus tomorrow and I won't have read all the books I want to read? That is the sort of thought process my mind was going through. So rather than the other part of my brain then following up with, but you might miss out, it might get better, it might turn out to be the best book ever, that part of my brain didn't bother doing that this time, and so I just shut the book, or rather my Kindle, and was like, right, giving up on that. And that was just such a liberating feeling. If you are someone who never DNFs, I really encourage you to, obviously not DNF anything and everything, but if you really reach that point where you are struggling to force yourself to read a book, reach that point where you go, right, enough is enough, because like, I feel liberated. I was like, oh my god, I can now read all the books. And after DNFing that, I actually started ploughing through my audiobooks like ridiculously. Like every chance I could get, I was like, I must eat this audiobook up. And that's like, that's such a good feeling. And so where had I got to with this? So yeah, that is my first real comment. But I know that that's a hard thing to do. As I said, it is something that I've never really been able to properly force myself to do before. I have forced myself through some books that I have despised because I've always thought, it'll get better, it'll get better. But this book just didn't have anything to help me force my way through, and now I'm thinking, how do I decide when to DNF a book? I don't want this to become contagious and every single book I pick up at halfway I just go, nah, actually, and just get rid of it and don't bother. How do you decide when to DNF a book? Do you have a certain amount of page numbers? Do you do it by amount of reading time? Do you just not DNF at all, like I, until very recently, didn't? I'd love to know how you treat this subject. What you do personally. I mean, I suppose DNFing is always going to be a very personal thing for anyone and everyone who is a reader. And obviously everyone has got their own thoughts on it. I mean, I really don't like DNFing books when I've received them from the publisher to review. I feel like I'm not keeping my end of the bargain by not reviewing the book. So, I mean, in this case I have reviewed the book because I feel like I'd read enough to review it, but what if I'd given up sooner? What if I'd given up at 20%? Then what do you do? I feel like it's a really tricky subject. And I'm so new to this DNFing, so I wanted to know how you all feel about it. Have you recently DNF'd something for the first time and you just feel liberated too? I would love to know. So yeah, basically I'm now thinking I don't want to fall into the trap of never DNFing again, and also not DNFing every other book I ever read ever. So I don't even know what the point of my real point of this little chatty video is really. I wanted to talk about my experience, and that was just such a liberating thing for me, and I've not had to DNF anything since, but it is always in the back of my mind. How am I going to... I suppose I need to make up my own rules in my head and stick to them about how I am going to go about DNFing in the future. If I ever need to ever again, maybe I'll just read loads of fantastic books. that won't happen, but you know. So yeah, please leave your comments and feedback down below. I would love to discuss this with you some more, and thank you so much for watching. If you want to know more about the book that I DNF'd, there is a full review coming up tomorrow as well, spoiler free, if you'd rather watch that than check through my wrap up from yesterday. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me just there if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you tomorrow with that review. Bye bye!